Okay, I just got a comment at the bottom of my last video where a guy was asking, what did I do to beat child support? It's actually, I think it's more simple than not looking at it in hindsight. It's more simple. Like, I don't want to say simple because it's really kind of undermining people that's fighting against a child support case. The key is not participating. What I mean by participating is not giving any type of indication that you're not giving no check stubs. You're not going to even discuss money. You're not going to explain how you take care of your child, because it ain't their damn business how you take care of your kids. It ain't their business how, what you invest in your children, what you bought them, and all this old different shit. That's not their damn business. Every single person that I have found that end up on child support, the number one thing that they fail to do is file an objection into the court case. They filed no answer. If you don't file an answer into that court case, and then you walk in there, you're already going with the presumption. Many presumptions that are actually going on in court. Okay. Implications and presumptions. You may want to look up presumptions of law, and there are many presumptions in there. I don't know if you look at the Cestui Que Vie Act of 1666. You presume dead depending on what state you're looking in. You're presumed dead if they're looking for you. They're trying to communicate with you and you're not responding. They got you acting as a legal fiction. You acting as a legal fiction. There's nothing on the record, no affidavits, no nothing that rebuts that presumption. So you're acting as a corporate fiction. You're acting as the U.S. citizen, which is the straw man, when you walking in there, because you have nothing on the record to the contrary. And you're supposed to be controlling that name. You're supposed to be controlling that name. I registered my name. I did the trade name registration here in Georgia. I filed it into the court case, but I did it at the end of the case. So looking at it in hindsight, and now I've seen people that actually beat child support and didn't even do a trade name registration. They bucked. They filed an objection to the court case, and they didn't give no check stubs. They didn't sign anything, and they stood on it. And the case got dismissed. They need your participation. They need you to go along with it. If you go along with it, you bending over. They going with this thing called acquiescence. That means you agree because you didn't object. That's a maxim of law. He who did not object to agree. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what they're saying. If you don't object to it, then they're going with the presumption that you agree. Especially if you give them check stubs. Because you're giving check stubs. Think about it. What name is written on them check stubs? The straw man's name is written on the check stubs. What has a social security number? The straw man has a social security number. You don't have a social security number. You're a living man, a living woman. You don't have a social security number. No living being has one. Only entities have numbers attached to them. And you're supposed to control any entity you're doing business with. And that straw man name is not an exception. Every name you're doing business with, whether it's an LLC, the straw man, or a trust, if you're doing business, you got to have that number. You got to have an EIN number or a social security number attached to it in order to do business. Now, they got you in there. They serve you a summons, keyword summons. You can only summons the dead. You're supposed to respond in writing. And you speak in your paperwork. You're supposed to speak put on the record who you are in relationship to that name. You don't go in there answering questions and not rebutting that presumption that you're operating as that name. That's what they call a special appearance. Some people call it a special appearance, but you don't even have to use the word special appearance in order for it to be a special appearance. But you need to file an answer into that court case, stating who you are in relation to that name, and you're actually the beneficiary to that name because you became the beneficiary. You're the beneficiary when you were a minor, and you're supposed to start controlling once you reach the age of majority. Now you're an adult. You're a grown man. You're a grown woman. Whoever the child support case is against, they're against that name. They're coming against that name, and they can't do business with that name except through your consent. Keep in mind the Declaration of Independence. The government officials, they derive their power from the consent of the governed. You have to consent in order to. You have to consent. They have to either consent or keep in mind they go with the implications that you are consenting when you don't object. So some of y'all, be like, I didn't sign nothing, I didn't get served, but you went to court and you didn't file nothing into the court case. You were supposed to file an objection in that court case. Don't get me wrong, they do some foul stuff when they're trying to bully you. They go to moving forward as if they're trying to flow with it as if you're not trying to object. There are many ways to beat a court case especially when it comes to child support. There are many ways to do it. But how I beat mine, I didn't give them anything. You didn't even see a $ written on nothing I ever filed in a court case. I didn't give any affidavits. No affidavits of concerning financial affidavits. I did not give any. I didn't give check stubs. I objected repeatedly. In every paperwork, all my paperwork, I repeatedly kept it. Even when they had a hearing, I objected to anything they ever said. I wouldn't even let them call me Mr. Roseman. I wouldn't let them do it. A lot of this stuff now in hindsight, I know is amateur. I was moving like an amateur, but I knew I was moving on what was right because I knew they don't have authority. They ain't creating no judge to tell me how to raise my child, how to raise my seed. That's my offspring. They haven't created one that can bully me into making them into going into what they want me to do when it come to raising my baby. That's my son. So, it take courage, of course. You got to have courage for one. And, it's good. It's when you know who you are in relation to that name, and you know that name in all capitalized letters is not you. And you're not going along with that as if you have to answer to these officials. They're trustees. They're trustees over that straw man, and they're supposed to operate they're supposed to be operating to your benefit, not turning you into a trustee, making you obligated to take on all these different debts or whatever, because you are the living man. And when you make that clear, you put that into the court case as on an affidavit form. Do something objecting like that to, making it clear on the record that you don't want to participate. You don't consent to any participation with any child support orders, any type of program that the state has to offer. That you want to raise your baby the way you want to raise your baby, independently of the government interference. Then you make and you stand on that, and that's what you do. Anytime they try anything else, you repeat the same damn thing in writing. Keep on doing it. And once they realize they can't intimidate you or swindle you into participating with what they're doing, they can't swindle you into compliance. They'll fall back and go and dismiss the case because they realize you won't bend over. So it took them months before they did it with me because I didn't know exactly what I was doing as I was doing it. And I was going to different so-called gurus on the internet, finding all kind of shit in the court case. Stuff I didn't know was gonna work, stuff I figured might work. I was trying all types of stuff. I was trying everything. I filed a constitution in the court case, but I don't know what I worded and what I put with it. I don't know. I have to go back and look at it. I probably laugh at what I filed in there. But bottom line is I wouldn't participate. They need your participation. They need you to agree. They need your participation. Read this Child Support Enforcement Act. Read it. You'll see for yourself. It's an agreement. It has to be an agreement where you agree to do that. And they go with the implication. It's an implied trust. When you go in there, you're giving them your child, your check stubs and your receipts showing how much you done spent on this child. And I'm like, they ain't their goddamn business what you spent on your baby. Don't put them in your business. I don't put them in my business. I never put them in my business. It ain't their goddamn business how you raise your child, how you raise your offspring. You raise your offspring the way you want to raise your offspring. As long as you're not abusing them babies, you ain't threatening that child's life. They have no authority to get involved with how you raise your baby. And then, if you're already on child support, now you got to do a few extra harder things in order, not gonna say harder, but you got to go the extra mile to learn the law and, change your status and, put some paperwork in place in order to get some some movement on the case to get rid of it. That's where trust law come in at. That's what I would do. But I think that's the best way I can explain it, man. You just don't give them nothing. Object to it and don't give them nothing. And you stand on it in open court. And don't get me wrong, they're gonna try to intimidate you. I don't know why that's even legal. I don't even know. I'm sure it's not legal, but people, for generations they've been doing it and getting away with it because people be so scared and ignorant to the law till they let them get away with it. They don't hold them accountable. But people are waking up now. People are waking up, and all them judges and attorneys, they're all bonded. Most of them, they under blanket bonds. You can hold their asses accountable when they trying to bully you into a contract. They can't bully you into a damn court order you didn't agree to. You have to agree to being a child support order. You have to show some type of agreement. That's how they come to put the order in place based on what y'all agreed to do. But they can't bully you into shit. They can't make you contract. Nobody. That's not how contract law works. Contract law does not. You can't. No one can bully anyone to a contractual agreement. And I'm on my son's certificate of live birth. I cut the umbilical cord. I was there during his birth. I was there the whole 9 yards, the whole 9 months. My son's mom was pregnant. So I'm on his certificate of live birth. I did the paternity acknowledgement form. I did that at the hospital. Got it notarized and everything. He has my last name and all. I did all that. So people say if you do that, you automatically in there. No, the fuck you not. That's not a contract that says automatically I want to be on child support. That's not true. So don't let nobody tell you that shit. It's some bullshit. So, there's many people, there's quite a few people that I've ran into whose name on the birth certificates and they beat a child support case. You can beat a child support case and you don't have to be on child support because you acknowledge that that's your baby. That don't mean automatically the government official have the power to force you into no damn contract. They don't have power like that. When you read the child support enforcement manual, you also find out that they're not real judges. They're called judge surrogates. They're not judges. They're not real judges. They're administrators. And they can't administer somebody's estate if they're alive. That's why you need an answer up in that court case. Look up the presumption of death in your state. Look at presumption of death in any state. You cannot administer somebody's estate when they are alive. And you got proof on the record that you're alive. Keep in mind, only a living man can do an affidavit. Think about that. And you don't file no answer to the court case, they go into presumption of death. That's why they got you acting as a dead entity in a court case, and they bullying you, locking you up, all this old different shit. That's not even constitutional. You're not supposed to lock nobody up for a debt. That's the goes against the Constitution. But at the same time, they get away with it because most people too scared or ignorant of the law to hold these people accountable or stand on their square, as they call it. You just stand on what you know is right. You don't go in there talking too much. Some people talk too much. They talk themselves right into a contract because they're saying too damn much. And I used to do the same shit, because I was emotional. That's why I talk about the emotional fitness. You got to get your emotions right. Understand what you're doing. Once you understand it, your confidence is up. You know what you're talking about. You stand on that, what you know to be true, that you researched and you know is true. You stand on that. And you can't help but you can't. I don't see anybody not winning if they stand on it, file an objection in that court case. And hell, I would even go as far as get you a trust. You don't have a trust, you need a trust. Even if you're not on child support or whatever, everybody needs a trust. But I beat mine without a trust. I just created a trust last year, at the end of last year. So. But I beat one. I didn't know much about trust when I had it. I heard about it, but I never knew enough to talk about it. But I beat my child support case without a trust. So you don't have to have a trust in order to beat it. You just don't give them shit. But you have to object. Don't just not sign stuff. Don't just say in open court object. That objection need to be in writing. Okay, that objection needs to be in writing, filed on the case, and do it properly. Do the shit properly, y'all. You're typing up documents. Even at the end of your paperwork, you don't have a certificate of service attached to it. It has to have a certificate of service. If you don't know what that is, go back in my videos and look where I named the certificate of service. Everybody has to be served. Your opponent has to be served when you file something in a court case. That's due process. You got to do it properly. File your answer to the court case. Mail a copy to the opposing party, and they can't go no further with that. They got to have your participation, and they're gonna keep trying until they can get you to whatever. Till they can get you to comply, and if they can't get you to comply with what they're trying to do, they're gonna shut the case down because they can't get you to spread them. But anyway, I hope I answered your question. It didn't take 15 minutes to talk about it, but y'all know I can talk about this all day. But if you got any more questions, any comments, feel free to ask the questions in the comments, in the comment section, and I'll be, if I got an answer like this, I can do that. I like talking about this stuff, so it's all good with me. But if you haven't liked and subscribed, go ahead and do that. Let's see what else I'm gonna talk about some other stuff later on another video. But hopefully I answered your question. If you got any more questions, hit me up, y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Emerald signing out.